channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Bachelorette Talks, and today we're discussing episode 4 of Hannah's season in Rhode Island. Four episodes in, and we are already getting a change of scenery, which the guys are pretty excited about, so I'm sure I would be too. I'd be so bored if I was just in the same house for weeks and weeks on end. So we start the episode off with a one-on-one with Jed, and I wanted to like Jed. I was very skeptical about him in my cast reveal video because it said that he was a musician that lived in Nashville. To me, that doesn't read great going on to The Bachelorette, just because the history of people that are there that are wanting to be actors, getting into music, anything on social media. It's just never really a good sign because it's really hard to trust somebody, right? Like, how do I trust that you're actually here for me and you're like not here for your little shtick? And he actually admits, like, I signed up for the show because I wanted to spread word on my music and I wanted to get famous. But now that I actually met you and spent time with you, I'm not really here for that. I'm really here for you. I like wanted to use this as a platform. As soon as he said the word platform, I was just like, no, send him home, girl, send him home. But yeah, Hannah did send him home. She believed what he had to say and gave him a rose. So she seems to be pretty infatuated with him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it pretty far on the show. How convenient. I'm not really sure how I feel about Jed, honestly, besides that, just like seeing the two of them interact, it just seems like he can't handle Hannah's energy really well. Like, she was so playful, all about having fun, like she just literally had so much energy, like the kind of energy I dream of having, and he just kind of seemed like meh about the whole date. Basically, there was like maybe 2 times he had some enthusiasm that he showed, but most of the time he just seemed like he was back there watching Hannah jump around and have fun, and he was just kind of standing there like. So what is your opinion on Jed? Do you think that they have actual chemistry together, or do you think he is just stringing her along? The most personality we see out of Jed is actually at the end of the episode where like they have the little outtakes and they were dancing around and having fun to the guy that was playing drums in the street. Like, that was missing the entire one-on-one segment. Like, I didn't see really any of that from him. So it just makes me question, regardless of the whole music thing, if he's really the right guy for her, because it just doesn't seem like he's that into her, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Now we have the group date, which was the whole center of drama and basically the entire episode, and it was so annoying. But what is The Bachelor or Bachelorette without drama and villains? And yeah, it's very obvious that Luke P is a clear villain this season. It seems like they're really trying to give him like a Chad / Crystal edit. I'm still not 100% sure. Like, he definitely seems questionable to me after this episode and how everything played out, but I don't think he's necessarily as bad as what they're trying to make him seem. Maybe I'm just trying to have a little bit of faith in him, or, you know, in his character or whatever. But let me know, like, do you think that he is as awful as editing is making him? Or do you feel like, yeah, like this dude's a douche and he's annoying, but he's not like that bad? I don't think anybody can be as bad as Chad. And Chad just seems like he sucks in real life. So I'm hoping that Luke P doesn't suck that much in real life. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about the group date. I put a quote from Luke actually in my notes, and he said, "I'm hungry for my one-on-one," and it's just like, dude, like, you're trying a little too hard here. Like, nobody talks like that. It was just like, seriously? Anyways, so for the one-on-one, it's a rugby date, of course. So we have Dylan, Mateo, John Paul Jones. If you watched my last episode, you know why I said it like that. Connor, Garrett, Dustin, Devin, Grant, Peter, Kevin, Mike, and of course, both Lukes. And the date card said, true love requires blood, sweat, and tears. And every season, when it's The Bachelorette, they always have like a super physical, super hands-on group date. Somebody always gets hurt. It's part of the drama, it's part of production at this point. but like Hannah was super into it. Like she wanted to see them like mess each other up. So basically on this group date, everybody was aggressive. Luke P is like trying to be the star and like, I'm the only one here. And is just basically saying, I'm gonna fight for her. I'm gonna give it my all, and like, good, but he could have toned it down, you know, like take it down a notch or two, bro. You don't need to be that intense. Basically Kevin ends up dislocating his shoulder, so he thought, and he ended up spraining something of some sort of bones, I don't know. So he ended up getting hurt, and I feel like that was a whole ambulance scene that was like teased. Like every season there's always an ambulance scene, and it's always normally nothing. So we got that out of the way with. We see Hannah cheering along. Garrett stood out, he got a goal, and I just thought it was funny because Luke had scored a goal, Luke P had scored a goal previously, and she was like, woohoo, and then like Garrett scored a goal to like give the green, I think it was the green team, get them on the scoring board, and she was so happy, she like jumped on him, and then they just cut to Luke, and he's just like, I thought that was funny. But anyways, we see Hannah, and she's talking to the camera and jumping up and down, and then out of the corner, we see Luke P, and somehow I couldn't tell that it was Luke S, but it was Luke S, and we just see them kind of come at each other, and then we see Luke P body slam him. So yeah, neither of them had the ball, so I was like, what in the heck is going on? And that whole situation is what took up the whole rest of the episode. One thing that I would like to note is that Luke P, he obviously makes himself look like a giant douche nozzle this whole episode, like that's obvious, but one thing I guess to like, not to like stick up for him necessarily, but I think it's fair to point out that as soon as that incident happened, he walked up to Luke S right away and apologized, and you could see the look on his face, he's like, oh my god, like I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to do that, and then Luke S was like, get the F out of my face, I'm gonna kill you. So Luke P was like, okay, and backed away. So Luke S was like, you were malicious, you did this, you did, like he was complaining about it the whole episode. Like I get, like it sucked, like I'd be pissed too, but I'm sure he had adrenaline, and he probably didn't even realize that the other Luke apologized to him, but I just wanted to point out that Luke P did apologize immediately. So for it to be like malicious and all this other stuff and have all this ill intent, I think if it was truly that, he wouldn't have immediately apologized, and the look on his face after he realized what he did was like, oh shit. So I feel like if it was a true like sociopathic tendency, he wouldn't have felt bad, he wouldn't have remorse, he wouldn't have apologized. One thing I don't appreciate is Mike running around using the word psychopath several times throughout the episode. Is that cool to sit there and throw out a diagnosis or, you know, anything that involves mental illness? I don't think that that's right and that's fair, and maybe that's just me being uppity about things. But I don't think that it's right to repeatedly be calling somebody a psychopath and diagnosing somebody when you have no idea what you're talking about or what a psychopath really is. So I wasn't a fan of that. I liked Mike up until this point, and then he kept saying the word psychopath, and I'm like, we really gotta be careful with the adjectives that we're using to describe people on national television. We need to do better with that. Because mental illness shouldn't be used as adjectives, and you shouldn't be quote unquote diagnosing somebody with a mental illness when you're not qualified to be doing so. That's my little rant over. Okay. Another thing that Luke P did is that he immediately owned up to Hannah what he did. He discussed the situation and said like, he came at me with clenched fist. Yeah, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, you don't know how you yourself would react in a situation. This is what I do. Like I have a background in psychology, so I play devil's advocate, and I try to think of situations from like everybody's shoes. Like who is this? Like how would Luke P feel? How does Luke S feel? I try to look at a situation like as a whole. That's just how I am. So anyways, at least he goes up to Hannah. Like not that this guy like needs points, but just to say, at least he apologized, and at least he went up to Hannah and owned up to what he did. And it wasn't a situation where Hannah had to hear it from somebody else. Like obviously she knew something happened, so I think that it was good on his end that he owned up to it. But I feel like he didn't fully take responsibility, that being said. So, and by not taking full responsibility, I mean that he instantly deflected and started like ragging on the other guys and said, well, this person sucks, and this person sucks, and this person did this, and this person, and it's like, dude, you just should have cut it off there and you would have been fine. But like, you aren't really owning up to something and apologizing to something, in my opinion, if you then deflect the situation and start bringing in other people to try to make yourself look better, because in my opinion, that's just making yourself look even worse. But what do I know? I'm just somebody on the internet talking to a camera. So basically, when they're all in a group together, everybody starts ragging on Luke and basically tells him that he sucks and that they don't like him, and then everybody got up. So then of course it's just the two Lukes conveniently left in the room, and I'm like, I can tell, like I can see through now, the more I watch the show and the older I get, like what production is doing. So it was obviously a production thing that they're like, let's just leave the two of them alone in a room, and then they just start bitching at each other. So that's where Luke S starts having a bitch fit about, you're an awful person, da 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 da, and Luke P is like, hey man, I'm sorry, and Luke S is still pissed off, so that didn't resolve anything. And basically, on this group date, Garrett is really the only other person that we see talking to Hannah besides the two Lukes. And because of that, he got the rose on the date for not being problematic. So good job, Garrett. Last up, we have a one-on-one with Tyler, and Tyler is amazing. There's really not a whole lot to say on this date because like he is just like perfect for me. Like he's the front runner right now. Like if I was Hannah, he would be my number one out of all the guys. Like he's just so attentive, so caring, so understanding, so patient. Like you can tell, like I feel like he's actually there for the right reasons. Some of the other guys, it's a little bit questionable. Like, yeah, I'm kind of here, and I just haven't seen them give like the care and attention to Hannah like Tyler has, and then Connor did when she was sick. Those two have really shown their true colors in a sense. So I'm really loving Tyler. I hope he stays on the season. I hope he makes it to the hometowns. I hope he makes it to the final two. So that's my thoughts on that for now. Hopefully he sticks around for a long time. Now we move on to the rose ceremony, and it's still more Luke drama. Basically, Luke P made the comment that Luke S is really only there for his tequila business, and Luke S seems to be more upset about that now than him body slamming him. So what do you guys think about this whole drama? Do you think that Luke S is here for the right reasons? Do you think he's just another shady person? Do you think both Lukes are shady? And we don't really get a conclusion because the drama between the two Lukes has literally taken up so much time that we got a cliffhanger because both Lukes are going at it, and it appears that Hannah was on the other side of the wall listening to it all. I really hope she did hear that, like all of it, because that would be amazing. So the episode just basically ends with her confronting them. So we have to wait until next week to figure out what's going on. Luke S is so worried about going home, but I think he needs to relax for a week because I can guarantee, pretty much guarantee that production is going to want to have a showdown 2-on-1 with both Lukes, and one of them will be going home. So that's going to be either next episode or the episode after that. I don't think Luke S is going home. I don't think Luke P is going home because we saw him in so many promo shots throughout the entire season. So we know that he's not done. I definitely think production's gonna want her to keep both Lukes on for at least another episode. So what were your thoughts on this week's episode? Do you have any tea to spill in the comments down below? Let me know. If you do, I will be sure to mention it in the next week's video. So yeah, let me know. And then again, a reminder, this is a spoil-free channel. So if you know who wins or who for sure is in the hometowns or who for sure is the top two, please don't leave that in the comments down below. I will delete your comment if you do, because a lot of people like to watch the show and be surprised. But if you know any other tea about the show or what's happened since the show aired, let me know. I'm nosy. I like gossip. What can I say? Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I think next week, when there's a little bit less people, I'll probably start making the videos a little bit more interactive with pictures and stuff. It's just that there's so many of them, it's just difficult to do in the beginning. But yeah, not that you care about any of that. Be sure to check out my other social media. Everything is linked down below. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you can be notified. Bachelor Talks comes out typically every Wednesday, sometimes Thursdays if I'm busy or, let's face it, lazy. So Other than that, I have beauty videos coming to you every Monday and sometimes on Friday. So if that is something that interests you, be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.